The memories and experiences still linger in my mind. It makes me dream and imagine myself still being there, standing in the busy streets, beholding the pyramids, and most of all, at Nile Union Academy. Although our stay in Egypt was short, it was long enough for friendships to be made, and for me to fall in love with the country. My opportunity to go to Egypt was not presented before me as an open door from the start. For some reason, I felt like I had to fight my way into the Egypt group. This is weird because if God wanted me to go, then He will provide a way, right? So finally, Mrs. Gladford told me I should go talk to Chris, the student leader. I have never seen Chris or knew who he was. I felt discouraged. One day, during Thanksgiving break, in a Les Mis Broadway show, I was sitting all by myself in an empty row waiting for the show to start. Soon, a gentleman walks up to the row and finds that his seat was the one right next to mine. It was the usual awkward silence for a couple of seconds, and then the man turned and asked me what my name was. I said Josh. He then beamed and said, "Josh Shane? You signed up for the Egypt trip, right?" I freaked out and said, "You are Chris! You found me!" It was in that Broadway show where I was confirmed that I was going to Egypt. Praise God for opening the door when you just trust in Him. God sent me on this trip and I couldn't deny it. I prayed for the people there in Egypt. I prayed for the projects, the logistics, and most of all, my witness. From my previous experience in missions, I knew that God did all the work and I was only His tool. When the time came closer, I had to figure out my message during Wicked Prayer. I put that off due to the busyness of school and was determined to write it on the plane. But that didn't happen. I was so exhausted, I slept most of the way and had a headache the rest of the time. Well, great. I'm the first one to preach and I don't have a sermon. I had ideas, but they just don't seem to fall together. I was still struggling Sunday night. As we came home from the pyramids, I prayed to God and told Him that You are in control. You know what are the burdens on their hearts. Please, tell me what to say. It came to me that night, and I spent the whole next day writing and reviewing. During lunch, I decided to ask some of the students if there was something in particular that they wanted to hear talked about in the week of prayer. The questions on their minds was the exact topic that I was prepared to present that very evening. They wanted to know how to love God and to love each other and how it all fits together. They wanted to know what the key to a victorious life was. They didn't know why they kept on falling into sin. These were simple questions for me, but not everyone in the world knows the basics of Christianity. Sometimes we have to go back to the basics and talk about God's love for us. If it were me, I was about to preach on a call for young people to stand like Daniel. But how were they supposed to stand when they don't even know why they are falling? The message God told me to preach was a message that appealed to those students' hearts. I felt it was too basic, but God said otherwise. I learned a valuable lesson that day after week of prayer. It's not about what message should I give, it's what message God tells me to give. All because a message is simple doesn't mean it has no power to reach the heart. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, that he does not come with excellency of speech or wisdom, but rather he comes with the testimony of God, of Jesus Christ, and him crucified. This is mission service, not only helping others, but also helping yourself grow closer to God. The memories and stories from this trip will always be dear to my heart. All the friends that I have made and experiences I had, the opportunity to share, added up in my life story. I won't forget hearing some students' personal stories and their aspirations in life, and how they might not ever have the same things that I had the opportunity to have. I remember seeing the cross tattoos on each of their wrists, declaring to the world that they are Christians in a land of ISIS. I realized that although I stress about school and future plans, at least I don't have to worry about people hunting me down to kill me. We need to be more thankful. We learn things that when we come in contact with other cultures. Confucius says, "The world is like an open book. Those who don't travel only read one page." UQuest Missions helps us in the goal of reaching others for Christ, and maybe in the process, we are one to Christ.